Hello, thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Andrew Aziz from Bearable Traders and Trading Terminal, and I have one of my favorite people in trading industry, Crede Sheehy Kelly, and she's with us. I want to ask a couple of questions from her. And Crede and I have been working together for a couple of years through Peak Capital Trading and Bearable Traders, and I have a lot of respect for her, her courses, and what she's contributing to the trading community. Crede, thank you so much for being with us. Our members love hearing from you. And I have one question, and I start with that. I'm getting that question a lot, that why traders cannot stick to the rules that they have, the problems of discipline. Everybody's having a trade book, but they have difficulty to stick to their criteria that their trade book is actually dictate for them. What's the reason for that, and how they can actually improve in that area?
So for sure, it's one of the biggest issues, and that's basically what I help people with. Is just when they have a plan, they know that it's profitable and they've back tested it and all of that, and then they go into the market and they just can't execute on it. So it's basically the crux of what I do with traders. But there's a ton of different reasons why that might happen. But some of the key ones are pretty easily addressable. So I've picked 5 to talk about today that people can actually listen to it and walk away with some practical tips that they can make some changes straight away to see results. So the first one is really simple, and this is the one that, if you don't listen to the rest of them, this one, if you implement it, it will make a difference to your results. It's actually having a preparation, like a mental preparation routine before you start your trading. So before you actually get into the market. And my background is in sports psychology, and I bring that to the trading arena. So if we think of basketball players, football players, it would be unthinkable of them actually going out onto the pitch or the field, the court, and not warming up physically, but they also warm up mentally. So if you imagine that as a trader, you're going into an arena to perform, and it's a high performance environment. If you go in cold, you've done no mental preparation, no emotional preparation, and you throw yourself into the market, then you're going to be affected by issues that are nothing to do with trading. So, anything that's going on in your personal life, stresses, they'll all influence how you show up to the market and your level of focus, how emotionally composed you are. So a really quick fix to that is to just implement a short routine that creates a barrier between your life outside of trading and what's been going on before you actually go to enter that arena. And it can be something really simple that is, 5-10 minutes long. And as long as it puts you in the right mindset, the right emotional state and the right physical state to trade, then you're actually minimizing your risk before you ever go into the market. So I don't know if that's something, Andrew, that you might do in sport and in trading as well. I'm interested to hear if that's something that you use yourself, a routine to get ready.
Not for trading. I mean, maybe based on experience, my trading hasn't been like that. But for high altitude climbing, and when I go into the mountains, before the summit, before the summit push, which is usually early in the morning, is really cold. When I wake up and I'm in my tent and we want to go for the summit push, I always, for about a few minutes, sit down together and I tell myself, I can do that. You've done it before in the past. You just don't focus on the summit, just focus on the process, step by step, continue going higher. And then in the last climb that I did in Argentina, actually was my guide who constantly was telling me that focus on the every single step. Don't look at the summit and the dangers or the difficulties that it has. But for trading, I personally never done that. I love to know, for example, that preparation that you mentioned, how it can be, like in what form, like meditation, or there is anything that they should do.
So actually, this is actually one of the courses on Trading Terminal Academy that we have together, is literally a 12-minute pre-market routine. But basically, it's anything that if you use meditation, it can get you mentally and emotionally in a good state. So it doesn't have to be like 20 minutes. You could do 3 minutes of meditation, 3 minutes of affirmations, and some goal setting. Sometimes people actually even incorporate physical activity. So there's a few traders who I work with who trade on the west coast of America, and so they're up so early, they're trying to activate their bodies. So they might do a few press-ups or something before they trade. So the key is that, it can be simple and personalized, and it has to work for you. So it might be different depending on where you're trading in the world and what resonates with you in terms of techniques. But the key thing is that you do it consistently. And then even the routine itself, becomes a way of telling your brain that you're entering into performance mode. So that's the main thing.
Yeah. Is there any technique that you want to mention specifically? For example, when I'm doing the meditation or affirmation, is there anything that you want to specifically mention? I know it's a short video.
So actually, well, for time efficiency, affirmations is my favorite strategy from performance psychology, hands down. And I know some people think it's a bit, out there, a bit woo-woo, but it is actually backed by science. And there's a lot of people use it in sports in terms of self-talk. So there is actually, I have a affirmation audio that people can listen to for free on YouTube. That's something that people could, just kind of plug and play if they want to test it out, and then they could write their own affirmation script. So basically, positive statements like the ones that you mentioned, you use, before your climb, to reinforce how you want to feel and the state of mind that you want to be in before you trade.
Yeah, excellent. It's funny because I wasn't actually aware that what I'm doing is that affirmation that you mentioned. That's very interesting. Well, thanks for that. You mentioned that you have this 12-minute preparation course in Trading Terminal. I actually personally I haven't watched it. Unfortunately, I haven't got the chance, but I am going to, after this interview, watch that on Trading Terminal Academy, and it would be very interesting to see how many of those I'm actually doing it just based on experience, and how many of them actually I can add into my own pre-market trading preparation.
And that's actually the key. So like when I worked with athletes, a lot of them were already using these techniques to improve their mindset. They didn't realize they were doing it. So using mental imagery, affirmations, even kind of using goal setting. But when you do it aligned with the science behind high performance and you make some tweaks to how you're implementing it, you can get, 10x the results that you're getting from doing the same technique. So it's worth kind of being very intentional about how you implement it. But if you're already doing it and then you make some small tweaks, it will work for you straight away.
Awesome, thank you. So that was number one, the preparation. What's the number two?
Number two, this is a huge one and a lot of people overlook it, but it's your money mindset. So basically how your relationship with money is impacting your trading. So if you have any kind of baggage or any challenging relationship with money that might have come from how you grew up, your circumstances, what your parents thought about money, that's sitting there in your subconscious mind. And what happens and why this causes people to break their trading rules is that their conscious mind wants to make money, but their subconscious mind has issues around money. And your subconscious mind rules 95% of your actions. So you go into the market, you're planning to make profit today, brilliant. But your subconscious mind is putting the brakes on, and it can play out this way. It depends on what your specific relationship with money is. But let's say that you came from a family who believed that rich people were greedy, or there was some sort of stigma around people, having wealth. So even if you as an adult have decided that you want to pursue wealth and you want to do this through trading, your subconscious mind is still more powerful than your conscious mind. And if you haven't resolved all of that programming that you got in your childhood from your parents or your circumstances, that's actually going to be louder than your conscious goals when you're in the market. And how that actually physically shows up is that you would sabotage yourself by breaking your trading rules. But it will feel, or not following your plan, but it will actually feel impulsive, as if you don't even know why you're doing it. And that's one of the key frustrations that traders talk about when they're breaking the rules. They say, I know exactly what I want to do. It should be straightforward, but I just don't know why I can't do it. I jump into the trades too early before the setup is there, or I'm over trading or whatever it is, and I don't know why I'm doing it. And if you're saying that to yourself, then definitely it's something in your subconscious mind that's overriding your conscious goals. So how we fix that is we actually look at our relationship with money, and we look at how we talk about money. We look at what our parents thought about money and what we heard about it as a child. And then we try and reshape our relationship with money so that both our subconscious mind and our conscious mind are on track and aligned with actually creating wealth.
It's interesting that your relationship with your money can, sabotage your trading performance just unconsciously, or in a very subtle way. Well, how can someone fix that? Is there any? I know there won't be any quick way to fix that. But what's the path that they have to take to fix that relationship?
The hardest part of fixing it, it absolutely can be done. The hardest part of fixing it is actually figuring out where the issue is. So if you do some digging to understand where the issue in your relationship with money is. Is it that it was your parents' beliefs that you took on? That's probably not something that you can just pull out from the top of your mind. It's something you actually have to go and journal around and reflect on and do a bit of digging to understand. So the hardest part of shifting it is actually understanding what's not working and what are those beliefs that are deep in your subconscious that you didn't really realize were there. So the first thing I would recommend to people is actually just sitting down, taking out a piece of paper and journaling around, how do I talk about money? What are the experiences in my life that consistently show up, like the patterns around money that I see? So our reality will reflect back what our subconscious believes around money. So one thing that people might find as they start thinking about it is that they have a money set point. So that would be where, they can never make it past a certain amount of income or salary, or maybe they can never grow their trading account past a certain point. That would suggest that you've got some sort of set point in your subconscious mind around money and you want to address it. So it might even come down to something really simple, like not feeling like you deserve money or deserve wealth because, and I know this sounds very much like sitting on a therapist's couch, but because you weren't, boosted as a child, because your parents didn't give you love and approval, it gets really deep. But if you can figure out what those beliefs are that are sabotaging you from creating wealth, fixing them is pretty straightforward. Then it's about, changing your language, how you talk around money. Again, affirmations is a really useful tool for reprogramming your subconscious mind. So actually changing the beliefs that are at that deep level. And even just consciously making an effort to become more comfortable with spending money. So sometimes people think of money in terms of they want to make it and hold it. But of course, in trading, that would turn up as a tendency to actually maybe jump out of winning trades too soon because you're trying to, you're afraid of losing the money that you've potentially banked. So rather than letting the trade actually play out, you jump out because you're trying to guard the money. So that's a certain type of money mindset. So if you can, kind of get more into the flow of being used to allowing money to go out and allowing that risk to happen, and then you'll actually find that it flows more to you as well. So it's really about just examining where is the specific issue in your relationship with money and then implementing some practical actions to overcome it.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I can see in my life that my relationship with money is very, very weird. There are some, I don't know exactly what's wrong, but there are some things that I spend money so easily. There are some things that I don't spend any money at all, or I get really anxious or get anxiety about spending money on that area. It's something that I have to really look into that myself and see where that comes from. So we got the preparation. That's one thing that they can do to stay with discipline. The second one was the relationship with the money, and now I'd like to hear the third one.
So number 3, straightforward. So this is about the goals that you set. So it's either that you're not setting effective goals or you're not setting goals at all. So I'll address the first one. A lot of traders, like one of the biggest issues in trading, as we all know, is that people really focus on the P&L, and that becomes the priority over the execution of their plan. And so if we're talking about a peak performance mindset, just like you mentioned at the start, it's really about sticking to the process and focusing on the process and letting the results take care of themselves. But what we find is that a lot of traders really set goals around the P&L. So they have a daily profit target, and that can cause them to, let go of the focus of the process and the execution of their plan because they're so caught up with whether the trade is making money or whether they might lose money. And what happens then is that it actually creates additional pressure on the person because they're worried about the outcome of the trade. So rather than just focusing on the process, they're caught up with that. So the flip side of that, or the kind of ideal state to be in, is actually to set goals that reflect the execution of your plan. So I'll give a concrete example. Instead of having a daily profit target of making, let's say, I'm just going to throw out 5K, that you would actually set goals around 90% or higher of all trades taken met my A+ setup criteria. So let's say you're someone that has an issue with over trading and you're taking low quality setups because of FOMO or whatever. If you set that goal that's actually holding you accountable to the execution of your plan instead of focusing on the profit target for the day, that will ultimately allow you to be much more successful and to stick to your plan. And the issue with, again, having that profit target is there might be a day where you do everything right, but the market isn't presenting the opportunities to you. So if that's the case, you're going to force trades. If you're really focused on, I have to have a green day, I have to make my 5K target, you're going to be priming yourself to break your rules. So I would recommend that people actually set process and performance goals. So performance goals are like the one I just mentioned. Another example that's a really useful one is around exits. So 90% or more of all trades taken, I exited according to hitting my profit target or my rules told me to get out. So that would be useful for someone who's jumping out of trades too soon. So there are performance goals. And then also setting process goals around things like the hours of sleep that you're getting, doing your pre-market preparation routine. So actually setting a goal to do that every day and ticking it off. They're the type of goals that are going to help you to actually stick to your plan.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, I know a lot of people are struggling about, for example, being disciplined in diet as well, like being healthy, losing weight. And one of the very important things that I heard, and I'm myself struggling as well, is that having a very reasonable, goal for your diet. The fact that, okay, I'm not going to eat anything else and I'm going to be really perfectly, healthy in 2 weeks is just not reasonable. Or during the day, they say, okay, have these meals properly and have a reasonable goal for yourself. Otherwise, you can never really get into that clean diet that you want. So having a very reasonable objective and for your day and goals, I can feel that even trading and outside of trading, how it can be impactful. What's the number fourth? I think this is the fourth one that we're going to discuss.
So back to the subconscious mind, but I've already talked about it to explain how it impacts us. So this one is just a different shade of the money mindset piece. So it's when people, you're more likely to deviate from your trading plan if you're attaching additional significance to the P&L. So if we imagine that, your goal is to make money from trading and you want to make X amount of salary in the year, fine. That should be what you're gearing everything towards. But what happens is that we start attaching additional significance to the P&L. So we start attaching our self-worth and our self-esteem to our trading results, especially if we feel that we have to prove that trading is a viable career. Maybe it's very different to what our friends are doing. Maybe they're working in normal 9-to-5 jobs or whatever it is. So we start attaching additional meaning, and that increases the pressure on the P&L, causes us to over focus on it, and then that triggers all of these other ways that you would break your trading rules. So that's a really, to me, that's probably the biggest issue in trading that I help people to overcome, is the significance that they attach to the P&L. And it boils down to a few key themes. So some of the most common themes that come up are people defining their self-worth by their results. So what happens is if you're in a trade and you lose the trade, it mightn't even be that much, like a high amount of money that you lose. But if your self-worth is on the line, then that's going to be a massive blow to you, and it's going to trigger an emotional reaction. So if it's just money, it's annoying. Yes, nobody wants to lose money, but it's part of the overall game of trading. But if it's your self-worth that's on the line, you're going to be angry, you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to have to prove that or claim back that self-worth at any cost, which leads to things like revenge trading, over trading, and ignoring daily loss limits on all of that. So I think that out of all of the subconscious ways that people trip themselves up, that one, attaching your self-worth and looking for validation from your trading results over and above just making money, is the biggest obstacle or stumbling block for traders that I come across.
Excellent. That's a very, very interesting point. And what is the number fifth and the last one, the way that you can actually recommend to traders to be more disciplined and stick to their rules?
So the fifth one, and this is a simple, straightforward one, is just people end up breaking the rules when they're not consistently reviewing their trading data and tracking it. So if you're not doing this, you can implement this straight away. And sometimes people think that they should track all the data as well. So they go to the other end of the scale and they're tracking a million metrics, and it takes them an hour to do their trading review. And it becomes this big, event that isn't actually helping them. They're not using the data for anything. So if you're on either of those scales, doing nothing to track your metrics or doing everything and not using the data, you want to bring it to a middle ground. So when I'm saying tracking your trading metrics, of course, you're tracking actually the trades that you took and your goals, like we spoke about earlier. But also if you track some simple stats, like the hours of sleep that you got the night before you traded, how your physical, emotional, and mental state was, so just rating them out of 10 before you actually start your trading session. If you gather that data, it actually allows you over time to see patterns in why you're breaking your trading rules. So if you have that data for a couple of weeks in a row, and you can suddenly see that every day that you got 5 hours or less sleep a night, you were engaging in revenge trading. Suddenly you're that bit closer to actually fixing it, because you understand that when I have less sleep, I'm more emotionally volatile, and that leads to overtrading, revenge trading. So the solution then is actually straight away, the easiest thing you can do is get more sleep. So when you track data like that in a very strategic manner, and it doesn't have to be a load of variables, just, everything that you track, it should be something that you're going to actually analyze the data and use it for something. But it can actually give you your personal fixes to breaking your trading rules just by looking at a spreadsheet. So it's a really simple fix.
And so in this one, you're not really specifically talking only about the result of the trading, but also analyzing the data of trading, but also analyzing your own condition, like the mind and the sleep, the food, and the physical and mental condition. That's also needs to be collected.
Absolutely. And like, for example, if you were somebody that was using affirmations as a tool to reprogram your subconscious mind, then you might have a goal that you track. That's, did I listen to my affirmation script today? So it shouldn't be something that you end up with like 20 variables to track. There might be sort of 10 key ones. And within your trading, you might be tracking the number of trades you took, those performance goals that we spoke about, and anything else that's relevant. So it's not like you're replicating every single action in your trade and every piece of data relating to it, just the main things that you're going to use to inform your actions and decision making and troubleshooting. But when you do that over time, it's like really, really powerful, and it gives you the answer to any challenges that crop up in your trading from a psychology perspective.
Perfect. Now, that's excellent. Well, thank you so much. So if I want to recap, let's see if I actually remember that. The first one was the preparation. And one way of doing it, for example, the 12 minutes pre-market preparation that you have in Trading Terminal Academy. The number two is the affirmation. Is that correct? That was the affirmation, yes?
So working on your money mindset, yeah.
Money mindset. The number three was, what was the number third? I'm actually...
So not setting effective goals. So you want to be
after goals, yes. The goals was that not having a very reasonable trading goals that can actually impact you. The number fifth that we discussed was journaling and analyzing your data, your trading, and also your mental and physical state of the mind, and see which impacts your trading. And the number fourth was which one was the number fourth? I forgot.
So conscious mind again, so just not attaching additional significance to the P&L.
Additional significance to the money, yeah, P&L. And that's what we do. We always look into that and say, oh yeah, $5 would have been the coffee, or $500 would have been, my car payment, and $100,000 would be a down payment, and my biggest loss was $2 million, and I said, well, that was a house. I could pay off all of that mortgage. That's that kind of giving this, significant to the money that definitely impacts the money. Well, Korede, thank you so much for that. And we'd love to hear more from you. How can people reach out to you? And do you have any more resources that you can recommend to our traders from your own courses and own website, or any other resources?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically the short course that we've talked about, that's a nice taster intro one. If you haven't worked on your psychology before, it's a really easy way to start. But if you're ready for the whole kitchen sink and you want a system that allows you to work on every aspect of your mental edge, then I have a course that's Go Deep to Level Up Your Trading. So that's an 8-week course, and it's literally everything you need to know from a psychology perspective to for your whole trading career. So that's one piece. But if you just want to understand a little bit more about the topics that we're talking about, and especially the power of your subconscious mind, and more of this discussion about why you might be experiencing the challenges that you're currently experiencing. So whether that's revenge trading or hesitation to take trades or whatever, I have a free masterclass that people can access on demand, and that's a really good intro into this topic from a more global perspective. So just going a bit deeper into the topic of trading psychology and helping you overcome indiscipline without needing any willpower.
Free class. That's awesome. Is it in Trading Terminal Academy or it's on your own website?
It's on my website, so you can sign up on my website. But I think if we could drop the link below on this,
yeah,
then
we'll
people
do
can
that.
just on-demand access. Yeah.
Awesome. That's excellent. And free for people.
Free, absolutely free.
That's
yes.
awesome. That's great. Well, that really, really nice. Well, thank you so much, Crede. And guys, if you watch this video until to the end, we appreciate your feedback. Leave us a comment. If you have any question, just leave it in the comments. And Crede is working with us closely, and we are really getting this opportunity to work with her, ask questions almost monthly from her. Really looking forward to working with you, Crede. Thank you so much for providing this knowledge to the trading community, especially the free course. I didn't know it's actually free. That's amazing. And I hope that traders would benefit from the resources that you're putting out there.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye.